all of the individual as well as collective effort who has brought Ba Bau Air to this forum today. My name is Kiwang, and also have my collective member Thao Ling coming here to Singapore to present a little bit about our practice of running the space. There is one thing that shall not change, is that as long as our spirit remains through our work or our presence, even if there's no space or no us at all, the energy we once created shall live on forever, and then it's just coming on and on, repeat it again.
Smells like jasmine. That's one kind of space, and then what other kinds of spaces are they, and how do you define space? And really the answer is, it's the activity or the people that kind of define what a space looks like or how a space can exist.
And I invite audience sit on the table with me, and we one by one we bring on the table a question. All the answer on the rice paper. When we finish it, we put on the table, and then at the end, we're sharing the thought together.
You almost always say yes, so you don't say no. But I would say yes, and what I can bring to the table is the conversation and my take on the subject of migration, of heritage, and of collective gatherings. The conversation started happen then because the intention was to invite people to think about food as the conversations about our heritage, our histories, our parents' history, what we share in common, and then we hear the reason why.
I don't have an art background. I don't study in art school, but I love art. So everything to me is like I learn from the people. So to work with the community, also one of the way that I have opportunity to learn about the art.
And for me as well, like I do the screening, the film program, and the screenings are not just to screen the films, but roundtable discussion, conversations, just like we did yesterday with the spring roll section.
If we can build like a cooperation for the worker, and then the system is healthy to create healthy system. I think it can be good, or it can be better for the local or for the worker who lives there as well financially. And then the next step, we can build like good infrastructure, like education, health, health infrastructure, so whatever.
Resonates with communities in Malaysia, and it doesn't only affect the Orang Asli, it affects anyone who works in plantation. How he say like there are no options. What can they do outside of being in a monoculture plantation?
And I think about this with regards to something we call eco-cultural identity. Essentially, like how we relate to it's the complex web of relationships we have on the planet. It's not just about how it's not a binary human and land, human and animal, but like how we are just a speck or a node in this extremely complex web of relationships of life on the planetary Earth body.
Sometimes we lost our identity, and we lost our way to communicate it with our environment. So we start to educate ourselves first. So we get to know ourselves first, and then from what we do in Jalalan Jana, the performance that you saw yesterday, it's an attempt that we created to reenact rituals, values that our childhood memories have.
From dreams came my own cultural identity and my memories, little symbols of my faith, my beliefs, whether I see like a symbol related to a god I worshipped or in a temple somewhere, and that tied in with the smell part, because somewhere I felt without that olfactory stimulation, I never would have had those kinds of dreams.
The way we have here, the smell of Ba Bau Air that we brought today, it's just my interpretation of Ba Bau Air, because it is definitely a very old house. It has the rusty smell that you enter from the entrance, because the alley is very small, so it's like it really vast and really narrow at the same time, that you can devour like all of the history of the place, of all of the old people who have been here, of the insects, of the seasons, of the weather. It's really gathered into like one sniff when you enter the house.
Because these are essentially, we look at all of these places, they're all Vietnam. To us, collectively, they're Vietnam. But for people in the north and south and central, it's a different thing. So just one thing from pick any city. If you go out and you learn about, you orient yourself towards learning about the rituals, of the Orang Asli, the rituals or the practices of the community, the trees, of a place that you never visited before, the trees, the botanicals, the plants, then you're gaining all of this knowledge and you're focusing mainly on that. Learning more about yourself by learning about other people, and transforming that into, because you're an artist, transforming that into an artistic practice that engages, the rest of the world, and that becomes a very beautiful opportunity.